Imagine this. You're lost in thought. You are sitting with a pen in hand and a sheet of paper in front of you, and suddenly a tiny speck catches your attention. But wait, it is not just a speck, it's a remarkable mite on a mission. Join me as I unravel a curious tale of A Considerable Speck by Thomas Hardy, where even the tiniest creatures spark curiosity. Hello well-wishers and welcome to my channel Aspiring Minds. In today's video, we are going to discuss Thomas Hardy's poem A Considerable Speck. So grab your virtual seats and let's begin. In this video, we are going to discuss the background and context of the poem. We will discuss the line-by-line meaning of the poem and we will discuss the important themes of the poem in details for a better understanding of what it is all about. Thomas Hardy was an English novelist and a poet famous for his depiction of rural life and tragedies of existence. His works often explore the themes of fate, human suffering, and the struggle against the constraints or the restrictions of society. Hardy's writing style is characterized by use of realistic details reflecting the harsh realities of life in Victorian England. A Considerable Speck by Thomas Hardy is a poem that delves into the idea of the value of life, no matter how insignificant or unimportant it may seem. The poem portrays a moment of introspection or reflection for the speaker, who observes a tiny mite, a kind of an insect, which is moving around on a sheet of paper. Despite the small size of this mite, the actions of the mite prompt the speaker to reflect on the nature of intelligence and respect for life. The central message of the poem revolves around the recognition and appreciation of life in all its forms, regardless of how small or seemingly unimportant it may be. Through the observation of the mite's behavior, the speaker realizes the presence of intelligence and instinct even in the tiniest of creatures, prompting a sense of empathy and respect for life. Let us now decode the line-by-line meaning of this poem. A speck that would have been beneath my sight, that is, the speaker describes the mite as a tiny speck, a tiny spot that would be typically unnoticed by anyone on any but a paper sheet so white. So the white paper provides a contrasting background that makes the mite visible. Set off across what I had written there, the mite begins to move across the surface of the paper, and I had idly poised my pen in air. That is, the speaker is sitting in a position where currently he is not writing and is noticing the mite's presence. To stop it with a period of ink, that is, the speaker considers using the pen to squash the mite as if ending its life with a period. When something strange about it made me think, the mite's behavior catches the speaker's attention, prompting the speaker to observe the activities of this mite further. This was no dust speck by my breathing blown. That is, the speaker realizes that the mite is not just a speck of dust which is disturbed by the breath of the speaker, but unmistakably a living mite. That is, the mite is identified as a living creature with its own intentions, thought processes and movements, with inclinations it could call its own. That is, the mite exhibits behavior and instincts which are unique to itself. So you can imagine how a tiny creature is providing so much food for thought to the speaker. It paused as with suspicion of my pen. That is, the mite hesitates. Perhaps it is able to sense the threat which is posed by the pen of the speaker, and then came racing wildly on again. Despite this initial hesitation, the mite resumes its frantic movement to where my manuscript was not yet dry. That is, the mite moves towards the still wet ink of the manuscript. then paused again, and either drank or smelt with loathing, for again it turned to fly. That is, the mite stops possibly to taste or smell the ink, indicating its intelligence, but the mite reacts negatively to the ink, recoiling from it or moving away from it because it smells that ink with loathing. There is a sense of disgust or hatred in the mite. Plainly, with an intelligence I dealt, it seemed too tiny to have room for feet. The speaker acknowledges the mite's intelligence and responds accordingly. Despite the small or the minuscule size, the mite has functional feet for movement, yet must have had a set of them complete to express how much it didn't want to die. The mite possesses a full set of do's and don'ts, indicating that a mite is a complex creature in itself. The mite's actions convey its desire for survival, and this desire for survival is there among all human beings. However, we fail to realize that it is not just human beings, but every living creature has a desire for survival. That is why I say each life matters. It ran with terror, and with cunning crept, it faltered. I could see it hesitate. The mite is now showing both fear and a strategic movement. It is momentarily hesitating about which path it should take. The mite reaches the center of the paper. Cower down in desperation to accept, the mite adopts a defensive posture, and it has almost seemed to resign to fate, chance, luck and destiny about its survival. Whatever I accorded it of fate, I have none of the tenderer than thou. Collectivistic regimenting love. That is, the speaker reflects on the power to determine the mite's fate. The speaker rejects the idea of having sentimental compassion. It criticizes a forced empathy which is often imposed by society. Despite usual difference, the speaker feels empathy for the mite, because many people will never even stop to think about a mite, but the speaker has had an experience where it is being able to connect with even a small tiny creature as the mite. So he's saying that the society is going to think that I am just showing empathy and compassion towards the mite for no reason. It's an insignificant creature, but I feel an empathy for it. Since it was nothing I knew evil of, I let it lie there till I hope it slept. The speaker decides to spare the mite, allowing it to rest undisturbed. But this poor microscopic item now, since it was nothing I knew evil of, I let it lie there till I hope it slept. That is, the speaker does not want to disturb the mite and lets it rest undisturbed. I have a mind myself and recognize mind when I meet with it in any disguise. That is, the speaker acknowledges his own intelligence and capacity for empathy. The speaker respects the intelligence which exists in all forms of life. Whether it is, you can think of a monkey. Has anyone ever told a monkey that it should peel the banana before it has it? But ever try to witness a monkey having banana? It has got that intelligence that it must peel the banana and then have it. Secondly, if you think of a dog, it will always sniff before eating something or will think twice. So you need to realize each creature, any living creature, has intelligence of its own. No one can know how glad I am to find on any sheet the least display of mind. That is, the speaker expresses extreme joy in encountering these signs of intelligence on his sheet of paper. The presence of intelligence, even in any tiny mite, brings the speaker with a lot of satisfaction that at least that creature is independent, a thinking individual who is able to move about in life on its own without having to depend on others. We can understand this poem further by decoding the following four themes, that is, respect for life, intelligence versus instinct, empathy and compassion, and human nature. Let's see how. When I talk about respect for life, this is a theme which is central to the poem's exploration of the value of all living beings. Despite the mite's small size and appearing almost unimportant or insignificant, the speaker is able to take notice of its existence and treats it with respect. This theme challenges the notion that only large or prominent creatures or worthy personalities deserve attention or compassion. Instead, the poem emphasizes the worth which is there in every living organism, regardless of its size or importance. By sparing the mite's life and acknowledging its intelligence, the speaker demonstrates a deep sense of respect for life in itself. Secondly, the poem also deals with the theme of intelligence and instinct in relation to the mite's behavior. Despite its tiny size, we see how the mite exhibits characteristics of intelligence. How? Firstly, it shows hesitation, fear, and also tries to employ a strategy in its movement. So the speaker is almost amazed at the mite's ability to navigate its environment and respond to any kind of possible threats, highlighting the complexity of its thought process. So this theme highlights the idea that intelligence and instinct are not just limited to human beings or larger animals, but it is present throughout the natural world. Another significant theme in the poem is empathy and compassion. When faced with the decision to harm or spare the life of the mite, the speaker chooses to spare its life, demonstrating a sense of empathy towards weak or vulnerable creatures. Despite initially considering of squashing the mite with its pen, the speaker ultimately recognizes its right to life and chooses to let it live undisturbed. This act of compassion, understanding, reflects the speaker's ability to empathize with the mite's condition and emphasizes the importance of showing kindness and mercy towards all living beings. We also see the poem offering insight into human nature by showing how moments of indifference and empathy and compassion can bring about a change in individuals. While the speaker admits to lacking the tender than thou sentimentality which is often associated with compassion, the speaker ultimately decides to spare the life of the mite out of a sense of moral responsibility. Now this reflects that human behavior is complex and it is often governed by the expectations and standards which are set by the society. However, we see how the speaker exercises its own will in sparing the life of the mite based on its own understanding of the challenges and struggles which the mite faces. So that's it from this video. I hope you liked it. Do hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel for more such future updates. Thank you for watching. Bye.